Good morning and welcome to News First Prime Time Sunrise.
Very good morning to all our viewers and welcome to Primetime Sunrise. I'm coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscoon and it's the 23rd of December 2014. Let's first take a look at what's making headlines this morning. The number of those affected by the floods in 5 districts exceeds 500,000. Landslide warnings continues in 4 districts. Manifesto of President Mahinda Rajapaksa to be unveiled. Casting of postal votes for the 2015 presidential election to commence today. On to your top story this morning, a total exceeding 500,000 persons have been inconvenienced owing to the incessant rains that are affecting the island. Minister of Disaster Management Mahinda Amaravira noted that all steps will be taken to provide relief for the affected persons. Meanwhile, landslide, rock slides and earth slip warnings have been issued to 4 districts. The districts include Matale, Kandy, Badulla and Nuwara. High risk of landslide warnings have been issued to all districts falling under the purview of the district secretariats of the Kandy, Badulla and Matale districts. The National Building and Research Organization noted that Hanguranketha and Balapani areas in the Nuwara district are under the risk of landslides. This warning has been issued until 5:30 this evening. Meanwhile, around 300 families in Puttalam have been displaced owing to the overflowing of the Kala Oya. Our correspondent noted that they are currently receiving shelter in 3 refugee camps. 4 spill gates of the Dambululu Oya have been opened along with incessant rains, and 2 spill gates of the Devahuva reservoir have also been opened. Our correspondent adds that due to the overflowing of the Miris Goniari Oya, several houses have been inundated in Dambulla and Gamudava. Around 150 persons have been affected in this area. Vehicle movement along the Badulla Mayangine main road was disrupted for a period of 3 hours owing to a landslide that occurred in the Timbrigaspitia area. Our correspondent added that along with the intervention of the police, Disaster Management Center of Badulla and the Road Development Authority, the road was restored. Meanwhile, vehicle movement along the Bandaravella Badulla main road was disrupted owing to landslides that occurred in the Boga Malitha area. The Agrarian Development Department adds that several small tanks in the Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa and Batticaloa districts have overflown. Meanwhile, the Agrarian Development Department requests that farmers provide necessary assistance to safeguard the tanks that are facing risks owing to the inclement weather. The manifesto of President Mahinda Rajapaksa for the presidential election will be unveiled today.
Presidential spokesperson Mohan Samaranayake said that the manifesto is to be unveiled at the BMICH in Colombo this morning. The unveiling, which will take place under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa, will be attended by representatives of the UPFA and other parties who have pledged to support the president.
Casting of postal votes for the 2015 presidential election will commence today and it will be continued tomorrow as well. 541,831 persons are eligible to cast their postal votes. A majority of postal voters are reported from the Kurunegala district, with the number of voters standing at 66,934. Meanwhile, Additional Elections Commissioner U. Amaradasa said that a special day have been set aside for police officers and officials attached to the elections department to cast their postal votes. 541,831 persons are eligible to cast their postal votes, with the aim of providing the necessary security for casting of postal votes on the 23rd and the 24th. Casting of postal votes in police stations has been postponed to the 26th. At the same time, casting of postal votes at district secretariats and district election offices has been postponed until the 30th. The aim of this is to make available many officials for security on the 23rd and 24th. Those police officers who are unable to cast their postal vote on the 26th can cast their ballot on the 30th after reporting to the district secretariat. Meanwhile, People's Action for Free and Fair Elections, or PAFREL, which is an election monitoring body, says that 1,000 officials have been deployed for observation of postal voting. Executive Director of PAFREL, Rohan Hettiarachchi, said that special attention will be directed to police stations, education officers, army camps and SLTB officers. We will deploy 1,000 officials to selected locations. All preparations are being made to give special attention to places which has a high number of eligible voters. We will also be deploying 35 mobile election monitoring officers. We also deployed several teams to the northern province yesterday. We hope that casting of postal votes will take place peacefully. Meanwhile, speaking to Newsfirst early this morning, SSP Ajit Rona, the police media spokesperson, says that a special security plan is underway for the security of locations where postal voting is to take place.
Postal voting is conducted today and tomorrow in respect of government applicants. Police headquarters has issued a special circular to all officers in charge of police stations and superintendents of police to provide security at postal voting centers whenever it is required, especially on the request made by respective certifying officers. In addition to that, we are going to conduct mobile patrols and motorcycle patrols in all police areas covering all postal voting centers, and we are going to deploy police officers in Mafti in order to get information about the situation in respect of postal voting centers, and if any person threatens to a postal voter or if he is instigated or intimidated, that particular offender would be arrested by the police, and instructions have been given to all police officers to take appropriate action. And for police officers, postal voting would be held on the 26th and 30th.
Sunrise on MTV Sports. Still in local news, 66 Indian fishermen in Sri Lankan custody were released yesterday. 38 fishermen were released after they were produced before the Kites magistrate last night. Another 28 Indian fishermen were released yesterday after being produced before the Point Pedro magistrate. Deputy Director of the Fisheries Department in the Jaffna district, N. Ganeshamurthy, noted that 15 Indian fishermen still remain in Sri Lankan custody. Meanwhile, 30 Sri Lankan fishermen in Indian custody were released yesterday. The Fisheries Department added that the fishermen will be exchanged at the international maritime boundary today. Well, now views were expressed about the allegation that a document was sent along with a salary slip of security forces personnel at a media briefing on defence and urban development.
We have recruited over 10,000 personnel over the last 5 years. They do not wear uniforms. However, they engage in duties of the army. What are those duties? They are plumbers, technicians, carpenters and other professionals. They provide their services. Senior officials with leadership qualities and UN commissioned officers lead these personnel. These officials do not engage in unsuitable duties as mentioned in the document in question. A leaflet was sent along with the salary slip. I will give a copy of it to all of you. It is not true that the army commander gave out this leaflet with any political affliction. At the same time, this is not something we did only for this month.
Before we wrap up this edition of Primetime Sunrise, just a reminder to all our viewers that you could keep abreast of these stories and much more by logging to our website www.newsfirst.lk. With that, we wrap up this edition. Have yourself a great day ahead. I'm Joel Outskun for News First.
Hotline 0114 896 896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.